with Coach Ben Durham for the Coaches Show this week. How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing well. And yourself?
Doing good. How's practice going this week for you guys?
Hot.
Hot.
I'm ready to go. I'm ready for the fall to come. It's supposed to be any time here, right?
Right. So for your friends back in Indiana that might tune in and watch our show to keep updated, we've got a little September heat wave, and it's been probably in the high 90s all week. It's been dry and miserable and dusty, and yeah. So we're fighting through that still. Well, Coach, let's talk a little bit about last Friday's game. We've talked a little bit about it off camera. Obviously, Fuad, I want to point that out. He had a huge game. I want to talk a little bit about his stats, what he did last week.
Fuad had about 26 carries for 408 yards. Again, that's 408 yards, 5 touchdowns. Offensively, we just really clicked. Mm-hmm. You know, I think our offensive line actually won the players of the game. They dominated the line of scrimmage, and Matt had 7 carries for 139 yards. And, you know, we were just able to really run the ball. And I don't think it's, you know, usually when that kind of stuff happens, you're playing the Sisters of the Poor and all that. No.
Right.
Franklin was a pretty good team. They're ranked 5th. Mm-hmm. They're still ranked 5th.
Right.
And to score 62 points is getting it done.
And defensively, how did you feel like we played last week? Are we starting to make some improvements on the defensive side of the ball?
So you want to talk about special teams? You know, really very disappointed. We started out, you know, we played very well in the first half. They scored 14 points, and they have some very good athletes. But second half, the heat got to us, and we just stopped tackling. You know, and it was very disappointing. And the kids will tell you, we've really tried to run them hard this week to make sure that does not happen again. Right.
And you know, this style of football conditioning is just absolutely everything. You know, and we've seen that every week. It's the team that seems to be the best conditioned in the second half. It really shows out in every game.
You know, nutrition and all that stuff just plays such a big factor because, you know, it's 98 degrees.
Right.
You know, that on Friday when we played, and when we went to McDonald's, it was 10 o'clock and it was still 81 degrees.
Right.
And it was so humid, and you know, if there's a lot of scoring, that clock just doesn't run because of the first downs. And I'll tell you what, we were there forever.
Right. And the thing about hydrating is, I mean, you start hydrating now for Friday. You don't start on Thursday night or Friday at school an hour before the game. I mean, you have to keep yourself on the positive side of that. Well, let's talk a little bit about you know, where we stand right now. We're 2-2 now. Is that correct?
3-2.
3-2. And what's kind of the how do you feel how are we positioned right now? I know we've had a couple of disappointing losses, but we were in the game. I mean, I kind of took some positives out of the losses because I felt like they weren't blowouts. The kids didn't quit. It just came down to, it's always disappointing to lose, but it still came down to just that one play. It wasn't like we're just outclassed here. So how do we feel? Do you think the kids are taking that from this? And
I think so. We really talked about playing a harder schedule. That was something we felt was very important. Central was ranked number 2 in the state, and we played toe-to-toe with them. Really could have went either way. I think they felt that way as well. They're undefeated right now.
Right.
You know? But we're tested. We're battle tested now. We're sitting in the district. The next 3 weeks are going to be everything. You know, beating Franklin was huge. This CCA team is kind of a trap game. Record's 2-2. You know, they've gotten blown out a couple times. They've got some good athletes. I don't know how physical they are. But after that, we go to Rebel, and then Tenshaw comes to our place. We got to go 2-3 in those games to make the playoffs. You know, if we go 3-0, there's a good chance we're going to win district. But you know, we got to start with CCA and just get better each and every week, and you know, to try to build towards that Tenshaw game. You know, the other night with Franklin, you know, we came out and we did what we were supposed to do early, and you know, going into the second half, you know, we just made some mental mistakes, and you know, you get lazy and start trying to reach instead of getting your shoulder into them tackling, and that's how they score 42 points.
And it doesn't take long to get back in one of these.
Now, you know, that's the thing, you know, that I'm learning too, because this, like you said, this is a big learning process.
Yeah.
There's lots of things I've figured out, like on kickoffs, to get out of bounds.
Yeah.
You know, I know that sounds crazy, and not maybe the next opponent's watching this, maybe, but if you kick it out of bounds, they can't return it.
Right.
You know, that's a lot better field position than onside. They get it, and they get it at the 50.
Right.
And if they don't, you know, take the penalty, you know, they don't take the ball on the 35, I'm going to onside kick it next time.
Right.
And that's a 50-50 chance you know, I'd rather start the ball on 35.
Right.
And then throw an onside kick in there, you know, when they're not expecting it. But defensively, you know, we were up 3 touchdowns, but you would have never felt like it was a 3-touchdown lead in this game.
Yeah.
And you know, they keep scoring and you score. And they, you know, and it's like, you can't get everybody in and the clock's never going to keep running. And it's just, it's really tough. It's, you know, something we're definitely adjusting to right now.
Right. And so I mean, it's been a learning curve, but I'm overall really proud of these kids. I didn't get to see the Hot Springs game, but obviously that was a really tough opponent up there, and I think we learned a lot. I think they felt really good coming back from that about how they stacked up, because that was, what I understand, a pretty loaded up team and some guys that really knew this style of football inside and out. And but anyway, so let's talk a little bit about this week's opponent. Tell folks, where are they from, who are they, and you know, what's this school?
We're gonna, the first thing, they're in Gulfport, Mississippi. So this is a 4-hour and 25-minute drive. They're actually gonna bring their JV team and their varsity team. And they're gonna stay the night in Vicksburg afterwards. But we're gonna play a doubleheader. So the JV's gonna play at 5:30, and then the varsity's gonna start at 7:30.
Okay.
And you know, what they have done is they've brought the spread game to this 8 game. Some teams do it, but we've not seen a lot of this yet. And they have a very, very good quarterback. Hunter Dykes, he's a senior. They're going to put him in shotgun, and they're going to run the jet, and then he's going to keep it off of it. And, you know, I would compare him to a Hopkins type kid.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's very tough to tackle, and he can throw it some. And, you know, he's obviously not as good as Jacob Hopkins, but he's their offense. If we can tackle him early and often and be physical, I think we're going to be just fine. Defensively, they've not shown that they really can stop somebody of our caliber, but you know, that's why you play them.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
And how are you game planning offensively this week for this defense you're going to be seeing?
We're going to try to stay the same. You know, one of the things that is been a big problem is Lane Robertson broke his wrist and is going to be done. It's a tricky fracture, and he's got a cast all the way up to here, so he's got 6 weeks, which he wouldn't be able to play till the first round of the playoffs. So we're going to have to replace him. It's a double-edged sword. On one side, we're not going to be as physical with an extra type of lineman in there, but now Neil Brown's going to take that spot, which is going to make us more explosive. It's going to help us in the passing game and things, and I tell you what, overall, it's going to maybe make us more dynamic. I don't know how you get more dynamic than we are now, but
Right.
But that's a good thing if there is. But we're not gonna really change. We're gonna try to execute our stuff. We don't feel this is a game where we want to show a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We want to just do what we do.
Right. So Lane is done for the season. Is that
Unless
right?
we make the playoffs.
Right. It's a pretty serious fracture. Huh? That's sad. He's really heart and soul kind of kid, though. I know he's tough to replace. If nothing else, just from the example he sets for everyone.
Absolutely.
Just hard work and good attitude. So, you know, we wish him the best in this recovery process, and I hope he is there in the playoffs. I hope he gets to play. I know you'll be glad to have him back
Sure.
at any point. And let's talk a little bit about Neil Brown. So you got him now, and he's going to be playing in the backfield with Fuad. Is that right?
Correct. He's going to play our sniffer.
Mm-hmm. So that gives you an extra, like you said, an extra set of explosive legs back there. Are you going to maybe show some Neil this week a little more, give Fuad some rest? Are you kind of planning that since you're going to be in district play?
I think we're going to just try to be a little bit more vanilla than normal. But I think ultimately down the road, where Lane would kind of move and play the quarterback position, Neil's going to be much better in that situation. He can really throw the ball and can run.
Yeah.
One of the things that we noticed was we call it the little wedge play, where they snap it to him and the lineman just kind of move everybody right in front of him. He hits it so much quicker. I mean, you know, there was a play against Central. You know, Lane broke out into the open, and then he got tackled from behind. Neil's not getting tackled from behind.
Right.
So I think there's going to be a lot of explosion there, and you know, we're going to have to see. I think he's going to be a better receiver as well.
Right. And what about Coach Powers? How's he game planning this week, and what's he doing going forward in terms of trying to improve his defense and build upon the success he's had so far?
Well, the first thing that we talked about all week was trying to tackle better. You know, doing more drills where they realize that you got to get your shoulder square. You know, you can't just run out of control and start grabbing and trying to emulate or simulate open field tackling is very tough. And we don't have a lot of players, but it was probably a pretty physical Tuesday practice for us, and we're gonna go in with two theories. We're gonna try to play a little bit of pressure man defense and get up in their face, and then we're gonna try to play a little bit of nickel and try to confuse them. So we're gonna try to change it up so they can't tell what we're doing and not stay in one, and then when that one doesn't work, go to the next. We're going to try to switch it up from the get-go,
right,
and try to confuse them that way.
Right. And then special teams, you said, you've already told us, you're working on just kicking out of bounds.
Well, we're going to do some of that, and like I said, I want to have the option where they don't think we're just doing that, and then maybe where we lull them to sleep, and then we kick it at one of the big linemen in the front. That's
onside kick.
And that's obviously something we're going to look at. We did it the other week against Franklin, and it worked out great.
Yeah.
But we're going to have to replace Lane on a couple things too on there, and we're just going to have to look at that and just see what the best option is.
And and there again, folks who haven't really come out to any of these games, the kicking game is just an enormous element, just a momentum changer and the whole thing. I mean, when you've only got 8 guys, I mean, that field's just wide open. It's prime for an onside kick, and boy, there's a lot of people that are good at it in this league. So.
Well, as fast as you score, if you score and then onside kick and get it back, that's 14 points just like that. It's unbelievable how fast it is.
And you're short fielding it too.
Yeah. Correct.
You break one play and bam, like you said, 14 points is another, or even 16 if you can.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
Too. So
that's correct.
You can make up some ground in a hurry. And I want to talk about that a little bit too. We haven't mentioned that in any of the shows yet. Everyone goes for 2 in this league. And what's the theory behind that? And that is a huge part of this. I mean, because the difference in 6 and 8 points is huge.
Well, if you score 6 touchdowns, and you don't make the 2-point conversion, that's a touchdown,
right,
basically. And when we look at this, I guess only 3.
Right.
My math skills are good. But what we looked at was that the corner's so short. If you try to put 5 guys on there and then a wing and then a holder and a kicker, that edge is just so short that you can come off there pretty quick and block and kick.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we found, and that's why we opted to go for 2. And
there's just not enough folks to block for a kick.
No.
So that's why everybody just goes
that's
for 2.
why they just go for 2.
Now, have you seen anyone kicking it yet in this league?
North Sunflower tried a field goal against us, but I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
It wasn't good, and I don't know.
Yeah. Well, Coach, do you have anything else to add for this week?
I think just come out and support us, please. I tell you what, we got both teams in action. The Rebel Dolls will be out there dancing. We've got the dance squad and the cheerleaders. I'll tell you what, I don't know, you'd have to tell me this. The central atmosphere was amazing.
Oh, it was wonderful.
Just amazing.
Great game.
And I'll tell you what, we'd love to have that again. I know it's going to be hot, but I'll tell you, it's something fun to watch, this style of football, and our boys work hard, and we would love to see you out at the game.
You bet. And let's tell the folks at home again, we're going to start actually at 5:30, is that right?
5:30 is JV, 7:30 varsity.
Okay, so 5:30, 7:30, so you'll get a chance to see 2 games for the price of 1. So
absolutely.
What a great deal. And then in a concession stand with all the cold drinks and food you can eat. So no reason to not come out and spend 5 hours at a football game Friday night.
And 97 degrees.
Well, that's all I got, folks. And once again, I want to thank the Lake Rocks Country Club and Lee and Anna Denny for being great hosts to us and allowing us to use this facility. And Coach, I want to wish you good luck this week. And folks, just come out and support the Rebels. They'll be out there Friday night, and they sure need your support. That's all I got for tonight. For Coach Ben Durham, I'm Matt Meadows. Good night.